I would like to call for order the Public Safety and Equity Advisory Committee meeting for September 4th, 2020. Okay, roll call first. Shall we stand? Allen, Kelly Wesson.
Sorry, there's some weird feedback behind you. It sounds like there's like a fan or something.
Yes.
That's good to hear you.
By the microphones, huh?
Okay, you guys want, it's gonna get hot.
Oh, it's gonna get hot, okay.
I don't know, I guess I can see that as a lower setting.
Just gonna try for a low setting. Jordan Whitron.
Is that better?
That's definitely better.
Twyla Harrington.
Here and maybe sweaty in a few minutes.
Cal. Sherry Winters. Here. Chris Olson.
Reynolds.
Reynolds. Alrighty. I don't know if I was supposed to always do roll calls. I see Nick, you're on. I'm just box. Weston, I see.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, checking the box. Okay, excellent. Let's stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right, when it's only a few of us.
That's right. Okay, well, so we'd like to welcome the new members, only neither one are here, so I have no idea.
Kelly's here.
Well, Kelly, we met last month, so I'm thinking she's a veteran. But Jordan Whitron and Rich Allen, I'll have to follow up and see if they are just not getting the emails. I did not try to contact them tonight. And then I will also say, not a new member of our committee, but our new city manager, Mike Weston, is on. So if you want to say a few words to us, go for it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I just wanted to kind of find out what all the committees were like. And as you can see, I'm doing my evening chauffeur duties. So please forgive me for not being there in person. I wanted to be, but thanks for having me. And I'll be a fly on the wall listening and finding out what's going on.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Cool. Public comment on non-agenda items. First, everybody in room, I'll put it up online, so anybody that wishes to speak on a non-agenda item, you can state your name. Okay, see nobody, I'll close public comment on non-agenda items. Next up, number 5, approval of the May 8th, 2025 meeting minutes. You guys had a chance to review. I know they are very, they're trying to get us caught up. They're still trying to get caught up. So I know it's really hard to remember. Go back to listen to the recording, but if anybody has any comments on those, otherwise I'll.
Because I do not remember that far, I would like to make a motion to approve the May 8th, 2025 minutes.
This is Sherry. I will second, but maybe Paul Wilcox has some corrections.
Paul's probably the only one who remembers.
He's shaking his head now.
Okay. So all those in favor of approving those minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Now, number 6, review of monthly law enforcement reports from July and August. So Anybody? No, we don't. I guess we have Nick available that might be able to answer any questions. He is online. So anybody have any questions? Or Nick, do you want to present first and say anything about the August reports?
Or why?
I mean, July or August reports?
I am not familiar with anything that's occurred that is substantial that stands out, but I've also been gone quite a bit the last 2 months on vacation and doing stuff. So I'm kind of disconnected from a lot of what's been going on.
Okay. So I'll give you all a few minutes to organize, and if you have any questions from any of the pages of the reports.
Well, I'm just gonna start with one, and then maybe Nick, even though he hasn't been around, might have some comment on it. July, I'm looking at what we refer to as item number 6 in the packet, which I don't know if you see that or not. But it has calls for service by call type. And I can see in July, for the 31-day period for extra patrols, it showed 17. But from the previous month, it was 49. So it seemed like kind of a large drop, as well as for traffic stops in that same time period. It had been 116 and it was down to 91. And I thought that just seemed kind of like, is that because the contract changed and there's less people, or?
What page is this on? I have 90 pages of info here on my email, and I don't know which page you're looking at.
So in our order, it is the first page after our agenda and meeting minutes. So it is what would be the first page of the packet from the police department that we received.
Is that August or
That's July's.
July's?
August,
I only have the information for August. I don't have anything for July.
okay.
But as far as the drop in traffic stops, I mean, that could be a variety of things. I mean, it has nothing to do with the contract stuff. There's the same amount of deputies and sergeants that are out there. So it has nothing to do with coverage on the road.
Okay.
I'm gonna try, I pulled it up. I'm not sure if I can share that page. I guess maybe it wouldn't matter. I have to go to speak. Share.
Let's see, I used July, but honestly, we just got August, so.
Okay. Are you guys seeing that page? Can you see that page, people?
Yes,
Yeah.
I got it.
Okay, so what Sherry was talking about is extra targeted patrols. Shows that there was 17, and the previous 31-day period was 49. Years.
That's just when deputies put themselves out on like a extra patrol in certain areas. So they're still in the area. They're just not putting themselves on an extra patrol in that location. It doesn't necessarily mean they're not there, because they are there. They're just not putting themselves on an extra patrol function. Which, when you put yourself on an extra patrol function, it doesn't even generate a call. It doesn't generate a CAD number. It just puts you as like unavailable, and you basically put the notes in there like, I'm on Columbia River Highway, or I'm on Troutdale Road, or I'm at the outlet mall, and so it captures the extra patrols that way.
And then Sherry's other comment was on traffic stops. There had just been only 91 compared to 160. Well, I'm not going to answer for you.
So as far as the traffic stops go, you'll see an influx in some of those during specific times of the year, because there's a lot of ODOT grants for traffic enforcement. And when those grants are getting utilized, it'll capture that data for the traffic stops. So when guys are working that ODOT grant, you're specifically doing just traffic enforcement. which we have a lot of that going on right now, but we're also shorthanded on the patrol level. So a lot of guys are just working patrol to fill the districts. So they're not working as many of those ODOT grants right now.
Twyla.
Yeah, and then Nick, I can't remember, I know you've told us this in the past, under the call type device, what falls into that category?
That the vice calls are pretty broad. It could be anything from prostitution to drug use, to people having sexual stuff going on in their cars on the side of the road. It's a pretty broad deal.
Okay,
A lot of times when we get those vice calls, they're usually down by the truck stops, or they're like in the parking lots, or sometimes in like business parking lots where they're doing drug deals or, like I said, sexual activity, and people call it in.
thank you.
Anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, I do. Kelly here. So I've got August, June, and July's reports in front of me. And there's obviously quite a bit of information here and quite a bit of stuff that's been pointed out, but I'm curious, what exactly should we be focusing on these, or what? There's just so much here that it's hard to focus on one thing specifically, or even trying to find some sort of pattern, or but like, is there a page that maybe in this packet is a little bit easier, and then we can sort of get some more identifying information from that? Like, for example, going through like this first page where it says the extra targeted patrol versus suspicious sub vehicle circle, something like, just even understanding what those mean. Is that something we could do?
You have hit the nail on the head. We are all trying to figure out how to process and what information is really pertinent. I don't know, I think as long as I've been on the committee, this report has been, it wasn't this many pages before. We took off all the filters so we get, but they were still this many areas, each different kind of page. Yes, the log at the end is the thing, all the filters off, and so we get all the detail. But anyhow, we need to try to understand this. We're going to try to have somebody come and help us. We can try to ask Nick questions if he's able to answer any of our questions about us, but we're trying to see if we can't get the sheriff's office to tell us about each one of these reports so we could understand. Yes, I think we're all struggling to try to understand what is important. So, because basically, we're the public safety. We want to identify or note some things that we are concerns in our community. Either people bring it up, or we see something, and we can emphasize this. The sheriff's office obviously might notice some things and start paying attention and doing something. But us, being this representing the citizens, we're going to try to do it. So that's why we removed all the filters when we weren't seeing some things. Some of us experienced stuff in our neighborhoods. We saw some things happen, but yet it wasn't in the detailed log. We couldn't see what had actually happened. So then we asked them to remove all those, and now, like I said, there's so many pages, so much stuff, and we want to put the filters back on, and we want to figure out if there's reports of certain pages. We don't really need to see that broken out. I'm not sure what those are. Sure.
Well, I mean, it does seem like they've got the first couple pages are summaries and breakdowns, and like you said, it's the last big chunk that's just the log that means, I think, feels like it means absolutely nothing, or could be more information if we do find something. But like, maybe if we ask the sheriff's office certain things that we're looking for, because I know that, I guess what I would be looking for is there a specific place in Troutdale that sees heavier crime? Is there a specific crime that's heavier in Troutdale? I mean, things like that. And I know maybe having somebody who's on the force coming out and talking to us what they see out there versus the log might be beneficial.
This,
I can tell you that a lot of these calls, the crime analysis stuff, it's kind of hard to follow because it's just a lump sum of information. Um, from working on the road, I can tell you that at this current point in time, I am not aware of any areas that are more crime driven than others. And I've been here for almost 13 years. And in the past, we've had certain areas that we would consider like a hot spot, but they've kind of cleaned those areas up between like apartment management and landlord management. But as of right now, I can't, for myself, I can't say that there's a specific area that right now that's like, okay, this neighborhood's a problem and we got to deal with it. So right now it just seems like everything's kind of just ebbing and flowing with everything that's going on. There's nothing that stands out to me that there's a certain area that's more of a problem than others. However, you'll generate more calls along like frontage road because you got the truck stops there. You get a lot of pedestrian traffic, vehicular traffic, and you'll see more stuff going on down there, which we always have in the past. A good example is in 2021, I started working on the Motel 6 problem where we worked with the city and actually deemed that property as a nuisance property. And it came to the point where we almost got a nuisance abatement and ripped their business license from them and had them shut down because they were generating so many calls for service there. And with the effort of myself and other deputies, we worked on that location for about a year and a half consistently and arrested dozens of people, made numerous traffic stops, and now that call load down there has dwindled down to almost zero.
That's awesome.
this is Sherry. I want to just, a few things. Completely agree, Kelly. That's what I've been saying. Wow, is there areas, how do we like look at this information, decide if there's an issue in an area that we're just not seeing in the reports? I think Twyla's going to report something to us in a little bit that might help us in some capacity. And I also say that Mary, who unfortunately isn't here today on the committee, she has a viewpoint of this from a completely different perspective, as she worked in police records for a long time for the city of Portland. So when she looks at it, she sees things and says, whoa, this isn't getting coded this way, or reports aren't showing in the same way that we would expect them to. I can't explain what she's talking about because I don't understand it, but it's for us kind of, we're getting this big packet now to see if there's any sense we can make of it. And what I would say is, when I look through this information, I go, yep, there seems like there's a lot of calls on Frontage Road or on the other side. It seems like the police must be showing up there a lot from what I can read. That and the corner of 257th and Stark, it seems like there's a lot of stuff, so. Okay.
So another example of this, like a hotspot area, in I want to say it was 2017 and 2018. If you guys follow the news at all, you're probably familiar with the name Jesse Calhoun, with all the stuff that's been in the media about him lately. We followed him around for about a year and a half. We were locating numerous stolen vehicles in a specific neighborhood, and we started compiling all the information with the crime analysis reports, and we started basically saturating the area until we were able to figure out which location he was associated with. And by doing foot patrols, extra patrols in vehicles, stopping numerous vehicles, we were able to target the house that he was located with. And from there, we ended up initiating a search warrant, and then we put him in prison, and then we did our part on that end, and then that's what happened with that.
I just wanted to add, and I do, so formally, like in this time, we would have an actual Kelly person from the sheriff's office, and so this is new, not having somebody here that we reviewed this with, and kind of where that came from and why the packet keeps getting bigger. We just had questions, and so we felt we were getting incomplete data. And so this was to get a look at all the data, and then next after this, I believe in a couple items, we are gonna look at another dashboard that looks at the data, and we're gonna try to figure out why they're not matching up. And once we feel like we have a complete grasp that we have the data, then we want to narrow it down. But there's still too many questions about why some things are showing in one place and not the other. And we just want strong data so that we can speak to and know the truth of what's really happening as citizens.
Yeah, and having a little bit of a background in crime analysis from when I went to school, it's very difficult to capture and track certain things unless you're specifically looking for them, because there's so much data that is there. So unless there's something that you are specifically targeting and trying to locate, it's very difficult because there's just a lot of information on there.
Yeah, like one thing that was really stood out that we wanted to capture was because many of the things that affect the neighborhoods are the petty crimes or people stealing stuff from the yard. And so people would go online and making sure the online reports were pulling into here. And so I haven't had enough time to really delve in to see. Have you guys seen any of the online reports on this one yet?
I thought there was an online sheet, but
Because those are the things I guess my neighbors talk about at least is.
There's a couple pages in August, there is the online report submission by offense, so there is.
Great.
But they're just not very many of them, so I'm not sure if that's. Rich, you were.
Oh, yeah, I knew my scissors were going to get crushed by Travis.
Very aggressive.
I was doomed. So we used to look at software, which was basically a map of the city that looked at trend data and pointed it out graphically where the trends were. And I think that came from a larger county data. We were just focusing in on Troutdale. I don't know if the sheriff's department still looks at that software's output or if that's still around. Nick, do you know?
Can you say that again? What is it they're looking at?
So we used to look at the output of software that looked at trends from all the data that was input, and it pinpointed it on a map. And I think it was a map of the county, but we narrowed it to Troutdale. And we used to look at that for trends. And I didn't know if that was still continuing or if that's just something that was done in the past.
I would assume they can still do it on a map. It would show like the calls and what the calls are in certain locations. I am not totally 100% sure on that, but our crime analysis guy would be able to let me know.
Okay. It's something we did years ago. I just didn't know if it was still continuing.
Yeah, I would assume they can still do that. I don't know why they would get rid of that function because that wouldn't make sense to get rid of that. But things change, and I don't have an answer for that if they do get rid of it.
Okay. Yeah, if you can just check, see if it still exists.
I will, I'll email him right now and see if they can still do that.
Thank you.
Sorry, it's me again. So I apologize if you had talked about this earlier and I missed it, or if it was in a previous meeting. So you said that the data isn't matching on certain areas, and I guess I'm confused. Is it within the same report, or is there a secondary place that you were talking about? What are the online submissions that we're talking about?
I think you might be clued in a little bit when Twyla gets to her part where she's going to show us the online county dashboard thing where you can look up crime statistics. And she puts in for the region of Troutdale, she does the date range, and it just doesn't tie to these reports. But we wait till she gets there, and we'll see if they match up tonight. That'd be awesome.
Oh, okay, all right.
So that was our question, because at some point, I believe the captain told us about that site, and so we're for Twyla investigating it a little. I've been there a little bit and looked, but I don't look like she is looking. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Law enforcement? Okay, well, I think that we want to get this, we don't want to have to be each packet every month. So we're working towards getting this down, but it's still going to be a little bit. Okay, let's go on to number 7. Twyla, she's
All
going to.
right, I'm gonna see if I can pull this up for us here. Share my screen. All right. Here, so it looks like we can see. So this is the site that we were talking about that they showed us before. And so if you look at, so I have the dates up here, so August 1st, 2025 to August 31st, 25. So that should correlate with the packet that we have here, correct? And so when you go to the page here that has our total reported crime, person crime, and property crime, unfortunately, our packet here doesn't have the page number on it, but for those in the room, it's this one here. You can see within our packet, we have for person crime 9, or in our packet we have 11, excuse me, but here we have 9. And I prefer this because this is a heat map for us. So if we could somehow figure out why these two don't match up, and we're comfortable with it, I really like that we can see, okay, over here, these are all the things that the heat map here shows just for like the total reported crimes, where the most are. And then if we want to go ahead and sort it by crime category or the crime groups here, I think is even a little bit more interesting. We could go and do that. So does anybody have a favorite crime they want me to pick?
How about burglary?
Burglary.
It's not a favorite of mine, but you know.
Starting to question.
I probably have to. So burglary.
Oh, you have to change your district.
Yeah, it used to stick, but now it keeps reverting. So, 1.
And on this page, when you flip to the back of it, that's what it shows, is burglary 1.
Oh, good. So that breaks down once we get that granular.
Okay, what about assault offenses?
Please hold button.
Okay, sorry. I was gonna say, at least we can look and see what's not matching. Actually, what I should have said was, I should have gone to that societal one, or society one, because that's the one with the dramatic difference.
So did you have 9 for assault?
Yeah.
Okay, and so you want to clear this or go all and go to, what was the one you wanted?
Society crime?
Society?
Yeah, so let me choose one on our list here. How about, warrants, evidence of warrants? This one has a lot on it. Oh my God, this is on.
I know, nor do I. I mean, they should match up, right? Do you guys see it and I'm missing it? I don't see it.
For warrants? Are you under society? I don't know if that matters if you.
Yes,
use that category.
I chose society.
And you know, warrants is at the bottom, so. Maybe that's why things don't match up, because that's not
Here we go. It's a
catchy.
Very touchy. That might be- I'm seeing 0. Were there 0?
25.
Society warrants Troutdale. This one's pulling 0.
Okay, that might be why, because in the first thing it showed a tiny amount. This, in our report here, it shows 43, but online it showed like 9.
Weapon law violations.
Is that under society also?
Society, yep, that is. And then after that, maybe we disorderly conduct.
Let's see, disorderly conduct.
So when you're looking up the warrant information, that's generally going to get captured because they do a traffic stop or a subject stop and that person has a warrant. So that's how that's going to be captured as a warrant stat.
Not as this in the society, no.
Nick,
As far as the society crime, I'm not familiar with that. I'm not sure what that categorizes, so I don't know what that is.
Nick, do you see our packet? I mean, do you get our packet at all or not?
He got the August one. He said he got.
I have the August one.
Okay, so the August one is,
How many pages? 1, 2, 3, 4 pages.
4 front and backs, and
And
then
we're looking at the back. I mean,
It's the one that's the reported crime last 10 periods, the all offenses in an incident, right?
on the front of ours, it says person crime 11, property crime 24, society crime 43. And then when Twyla pulls it up on the computer, it eliminates some of them.
So they don't reflect the same information. I did pull up society weapon law violations. Is that the one you wanted to see? And that pulled 4. Is that?
weapon law violations, that
I have 2.
See, I just like this map would be really helpful if we could figure out why some things are showing up here but not here and vice versa.
Disorder.
Yeah.
Yes, I will do that. And that's society crime?
Yes.
And this way we would also save so much paper. And this one's not pulling anything. And you have how many for disorderly?
6.
Okay.
And secretly, the reason why I like to look at the big log is because I like to see what's going on in my neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. We live there. We want to know that it's safe. Yeah.
look at all those streets and
Yeah.
So I just sent an email to our crime analysis guy asking him regarding the mapping of it. So I should get a response here from him probably tomorrow.
That's great. That'd be super helpful. So I'll go ahead and stop sharing. I think this would be a really great tool. Hopefully, Nick, you'll be able to let us know why our packets and this online tool, for some reason, don't reflect the same information.
Because I know in the past when we had the crime maps, it would show like a little red dot at the locations where the incident occurred, and it would tell you exactly what it was.
Okay.
This Sherry, okay, so back a while ago, I think it was Captain Asbo showed us a map of where there was incidents, where they were traffic stops or they were more like traffic call type things. And it was with red dots. And like for myself, I would love to be able to see sort of like red dots on actions, and maybe it's red dots for something and blue dots for something and green dots for something. And then you can kind of see like, okay, you know, there's a lot of whatever getting this kind of thing. And then to me, that shows an area that has issues with something or another, or there could just be a smattering and it's like, that's the way it goes. At least for me, that would be helpful as a visual, but I don't know if it's all possible. I just know that we did get something before, and I don't know.
If they're able to do that, I think it would be pretty easy to capture it, especially like a color pattern. You could do like a red is for priority 1s and 2s, and then 3s and 4s could be a different color, and 5s and 6s and 7s can be a different color. But I'll have to wait until I hear back from Kevin to see if that's something he can do with the data or with the software he has.
Okay.
Yeah, that's super helpful.
I think one thing though that got clarified by Captain Asbo though at the time was that those dots can be where the call was made in, not necessarily where the thing has happened. A lot of,
That is true.
that's what I remember is like there being all these dots here and you're thinking, why does this cul-de-sac overlooking the intersection of 257th and Stark? They're calling in, they're being very aware of and calling in a lot.
And also the dots, because they don't provide the addresses, the approximate blocks, so it'd be kind of in the area.
Yeah.
Because if you pull up a map like that with the dots on it, the sheriff's office would have hundreds of dots on it for the month because people walk in and report stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean it happened at the sheriff's office. It's always elsewhere, but it would show up at the sheriff's office.
Instead of what the report, where the report originated, is there a way to get it where it's where the sheriff has been dispatched to?
You should be able to capture that, yes, I would think.
Okay.
So question for Trevor. Is the overall number online the same as what we have in the report? Like, the report comes up to 78, this page here. Is online for Troutdale, all offenses, does that also come up to 78?
It did not.
It did not. So,
It was off by
A lot.
like 20 or something.
And a lot in the societal, the others each were 2 off, and then there's a big off on the other. I kid you not, I think society showed 9 for Troutdale, and on our report it shows 43. So if you were a person going, Troutdale is the safest place on the planet to live, you might have something else to say about it, I don't know.
Not sure. Is there, the other thing, I guess, is, Nick, is there like, I think sometimes we don't know the difference between theft and burglary, just like Twyla was asking earlier about noise. Is there some definitions or explanations of how you call or close something sort of thing that we could understand, like some training thing that you guys use that we have that page that gave the definitions?
Are you trying to differentiate between theft and burglary?
Yeah, and just because I honestly, just sometimes I forgot, I've asked about vice, I'm like, what was vice again? So just remembering that we would refer back to, because I'm sure we've asked about this before in the past, but sometimes our members change, plus the fact that.
So when you have a theft incident, you have various levels of theft, whether it's aggravated theft, theft in the first degree, second degree, or third degree, which that's usually going to be somebody going into a store or going into a vehicle and stealing something and leaving. A burglary is going to be where somebody enters a house or a garage or a shop. So a burglary, they're entering a structure versus a theft where they enter like a store or they steal someone's purse off of a counter. So that's the differentiation between the two.
Wait, I need to understand that if you enter a store, isn't that the same as entering a building?
No, because burglary, you have to force entry and damage to get inside of it.
Oh,
So if you go to someone's house and you kick the door open, or even if the door is unlocked and you just unlawfully enter the dwelling, that's a burglary. And if you go in there with an intent to commit a crime.
okay, but if you opened up a car door that you weren't supposed to, you would still call that theft? You wouldn't call that burglary?
It would be a theft and an unlawful entry to a motor vehicle.
Okay.
Now, in other states, like in Florida and stuff, it's considered a burglary on a vehicle, but we don't have those laws here.
I did find on this online report, and I don't think this makes up for all of the discrepancies. It looks like they basically withhold on this one, being where minors congregate, sexual crimes, human trafficking, incest, prostitution, I mean, I don't think that makes up for the 25 or so. But I don't see the warrants as something that would be excluded, which is one of the big buckets we found.
And I felt we found it another way too, something like
Yeah.
the opposite of what we thought it was gonna be. So,
And I don't think most of these are usually things that we find, thank goodness.
it's true. But if that is withholding those other types of crimes, as a public safety group, it seems like we would want to be aware of
Right.
the trafficking or those kinds of things that are going on in certain areas. Because we all know, it wasn't very long ago when it was reported Troutdale's truck stop is like one of the worst truck stops in the nation. And whether that's really the case or not, that was going around out there, so.
So I understand that. You're saying that online it doesn't include some of these categories that rank on ours, but
I'm just, what it says is online, certain crimes have been omitted from the list due to their sensitive nature. And so that may account for a few of the things, but looking upon the category of these crimes, I don't think there's things that we typically find in our report because we don't have a high level of rape, but I do remember seeing those things in our report. So that may be one difference between this one and this one, but I don't think it accounts for everything.
So the ones that are excluded where they're sensitive, that's generally a lot of times we'll see that with like our SIU team, which is our drug investigators. When they have a serious case that's going on with like drug trafficking or drug dealing, even I don't have access to those reports. And if I try to look those reports up in my computer, it'll just say that the case is restricted and you have to have access. You have to have approved access to get to the report. So that's what that usually is. Something that's a fairly high level crime that's under investigation.
so it would count in our totals. But when we looked at it online, we wouldn't see that count.
Yeah, it would probably show up in there as an incident, but you wouldn't be able to see what it is
Okay.
based on the sensitivity of the case. Are we saying since the report has a higher number and the online's a lower number, that the online might have filters of some kind?
Correct.
That's what she's.
But then once those cases get adjudicated, they should be released and you can see what the incident was. But that can be in the court system. I mean, that can be a long time.
But it doesn't account for all the discrepancies.
We still just need to ask, we need to understand why. Still don't understand why. Anybody else have any more questions or comments?
Thank you.
I might have, sorry, one more question. It looks like, and this might just be for somebody who knows when this gets reported, but it looks like even from month to month, from one report to another report, the dates don't necessarily match even on the printed report. So I'm looking at, where did it go? So if you look at the August report for the July date on the, just on the assault offenses on the top, it says that there was 13, but then in the July, there's 11. So I don't know if there's like a time period between printing this and us getting it or whatever, or the next month, if there's like a change somehow.
Yeah, I think we've found that in past months too, and another one of the questions.
Got it.
Okay, well, we'll still keep sleuthing, trying to get to the bottom of this. Okay, thank you very much, Twyla, appreciate that. Let's see, it's going up. Number 8, Community Resource Officer Deputy Workforce. Focus. So this is new. This is new from way he's worked out is that we can put on a, we can submit within 2 weeks after a city manager, and they will forward it to the sheriff's office, but it's locations, issues we want them. And they will try to do some just focus what we like to see first. Can you give me an example on that? Well, like, I guess if we've seen there's a lot of red light running, we could suggest that they patrol extra an intersection. We've seen a lot of, we've seen some graffiti now in an area, and we just wondered if maybe they should maybe patrolling there a little bit at night and watch in that area. I mean, I don't know. They didn't give me any examples. I'm just thinking of the way he presented his location, what his sheet has for us to list, like maybe 5 different locations and an issue we want to see addressed in it. So,
I love that. I think that's a great opportunity to get the community to come. Of course, we're always talking to our neighbors also, but for them to come and voice, and then hopefully we could see some response to that.
I just was thinking I'll bring up that one of my friends and her neighbors lives in the same Palisades, and she said, "There's graffiti out there at Evans and Stark," and she has however, she did mention that I talked to the sheriff, talked to Public Works, and within a couple days they had, she was appreciative of it, but still, someone telling me something, you're on public safety. So I was just, that's not exactly, it could be. And they will do it best they're able to, and they'll report on whatever has come out of it.
Okay, that's good.
So I think that before we can circle back to this, because this is a new thing. So think about anything that you know about, otherwise I'm just. So you can think of anything that's transpired, and maybe your list will just be. Anybody online have?
I'm catching about every other word.
Are you talking so?
I don't know if the microphone is just not picking you. It's all I can hear is the fan.
I'm using my quiet voice. Okay, so what this is about is the, we can submit to the sheriff location and an issue that we'd like to see them work on. So, for example, if we specifically had noted or public had come in and told us that there is some strange people hanging out in their neighborhood, whatever, at night, we could ask, put that on the list, that the sheriff to kind of patrol this area a little bit and see what's going on. If you want, like I said, speeding issue, or just anything you guys can think of. Go ahead, Twyla.
Yeah, I can think of one issue, and I know it's not necessarily a crime issue, but Nick, I would love to hear your ideas on a strategy. I know in another committee, our Citizens Advisory Committee, one of the members had mentioned down here at the bottom of Buxton, the people waiting to take the left-hand turn, almost seeing pedestrians hit, and that I experienced that twice in the last month, of seeing people running across the street and then somebody like thinking everybody stopped. They stopped for the pedestrians, and they became like, it was so close. I actually was like laying on my horn. And so I'm just afraid that something's gonna happen there, and we're gonna have to wait until somebody gets really hurt before anything's done. So I'd love your ideas on how we might be able to elevate that and get that fixed, knowing it's a county issue.
I can tell you from my opinion of that intersection needs to be a three-way stop. 100% a three-way stop, and preferably with a light. Because the way it's set up right now, there are people running that, well, some people don't see the stop sign, they go through it. And when that, you can turn on the right going up the hill, people that don't pay attention don't know that, and they stop, and then the other vehicle traffic will start going, and then they'll go in front of them and they almost hit each other. The whole thing is a total disaster, and that needs to be fixed. From what I understand, that's like one or two intersections in the entire state that is set up that way. And I'm not sure why that is, but that needs to be a complete three-way stop, and not just, the turn thing going southbound on Buxton, because I've been down there. I've almost been hit in my patrol car numerous times. And it's just because people they're not being blatant to it. They just don't understand it. They don't know. And it's creating a lot of problems in there. And I'm surprised that something hasn't happened in there yet, but it will at some point.
This, Sherry, just a question on if, I can appreciate three-way stop. I can also appreciate arguments that people would say the traffic might back up too far all the way to 257 to create issues when the left-hand turn lane is feeding after like an afternoon or something coming onto the old highway. Is it part of the issue being that pedestrians cross and they have the right of way all the time that can give issue?
Usually it's not pedestrian related from what I've seen. It's all vehicles that are the problem. Most of the time when I see the issues occurring, there's no pedestrians in the crosswalks. It's vehicles that are either stopping or running the signs. I have not seen a person on foot almost get hit in there, but I have seen numerous vehicles almost get crashed into almost daily.
So if there was, if it was an intersection that had a light, that it had a green arrow more often for a right turn that could keep them going, unless there was a pressing of a crosswalk button or something like that, would that help? I don't know if that made sense.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I know that the city has dealt with the county and ODOT before about trying to correct it, and from what I understand, they were kind of just like, oh, well, the stop signs are there. That's what you're going to get because we don't want to pay for the light.
Okay. So we could argue that just having everybody stop and no green arrow, I mean, no idea of a turn.
Because honestly, before when it was just a one-way stop coming down the hill, when it was just a stop sign at Buxton and Columbia River Highway was just a free-flowing lane of traffic, we didn't have the issues we're running into now.
Okay.
And since they changed that, it has just made that intersection a disaster.
And I've also experienced it where traffic is endlessly going up the hill, no pedestrians. But there is somebody waiting on historic Columbia River Highway headed west, wants to turn to go up the hill, and they're waiting. And people behind are just honking, but that's because they keep waiting because the cars keep coming, and then all of a sudden there'll be somebody who does stop and says, well, I should stop, you guys keep having, and then the car gets to go up the hill. But I get it, it's stacking up either way, it's an issue. So yes, it's a bad intersection. Okay, so perhaps we, I don't know what.
I was just going to add to that. Here it's been said, if we were to ever go to a stoplight, some of our stoplights here in the county or in Gresham are the smart lights that you can actually sync them up. So if you needed to, the light to keep that traffic flowing, as you say, to prevent it from backing up onto 257, there are technological alternatives. It does cost a bit more, and like Nick says, I don't think the county wanted to pay for anything. And so, yeah, that brings us back to what is the solution for
Any comments So, I'll give you guys a little bit to think about in case we come back, and if nobody has anything, it's fine. Ideas for location and issue, if we know of some. Anything that
Nick, are you gonna be at all our meetings or just once in a while?
Did you hear Victoria? She was asking if you're gonna be at our
Yeah,
meetings.
I'm supposed to be here on them. So yeah, as far as right now, yeah, I should be on them.
Okay, excellent.
Great,
Excellent.
thank you.
Thank you for being here. We do appreciate that. Okay, so I want to open up this one to public comment in case anybody in the public wants to bring up some issue location that you've seen. So any public have comment on the workforce for the sheriff's office? Okay, I'll close public comment on that. Let's go on to number 9. Discuss proactive ideas for dealing with common issues in green spaces. I talked about this a little bit last month. I brought up the Stevens green spaces and we have these kind of continual.
I'm so sorry to be a nuisance. It's so hard to hear you.
Oh, I just am to keep talking too quiet. I just
Thank you.
loud. Usually I have a loud voice. Turn on my German voice. So last month, if you recall, we did talk about common issues in green spaces, and as I recall, Frank Stevens, I think, had brought up some concerns, things maybe we could be proactive about. So I just put that back on the agenda for us to, if we had any ideas or anything that we might want to work on moving forward. Have any thoughts on that?
Are there any common issues that we deal with typically?
Well, like, that's just to be more proactive so they don't become a problem. Like, for example, I mean, it's outside of Troutdale, but I'm thinking like the county is, or Virginia Straight Lands has put up rocks and large rocks to deter the homeless from driving cars down into Thousand Acres. And, so I mean, things that you, before they become a problem, you try to be proactive so it never becomes a problem. So if there's, I don't know, because obviously you guys know that the trail will open soon and we don't want to have problems on it. So if there's anything we could be doing to be more proactive, I don't really have myself any ideas, but I just put it here so in case anybody talk about anything, had any ideas.
Well, this is, I would hope for the new trail, they've already planned on having those like straight posts or something that prohibits anyone from driving on them except those that would like be granted access, like parks to get in there or something like that. So I would hope that they would have some stuff already put in place, but yeah.
And as you guys all remember from Frank's thing, his presentation, they also cut those off, and that's been.
There's been numerous barricades and bollards they've put up in there over the last few months. When I was at work today, I actually noticed on the Jordan Road side, it looks like somebody may have taken a metal skill saw type tool, and it looks like they cut one of the barriers open, and now you can drive back in there again.
Yeah.
I think Corbett fired at that.
Oh,
Yeah, I think Corbett fired at that to get back there to do that fire that just happened the other day.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that would make sense.
I will say that I did witness some interesting people looking like they were taking apart the guardrail all night driving by there. I failed to report it. I should have called it in, but I was driving somewhere and then saw that fire in that car later, so I thought that's probably what it did. But maybe that was-
I'm not sure if they reported it to ODOT, but as of today, it was wide open.
I was just gonna say, I think one of the best deterrents is really encouraging the community to use the space for its intended use. And so just demonstrating that and being there. I know part of the reason I think the Chuck Trail is doing so well is that he is out there and he's encouraged us, and we walk our dogs out there, and I think when people see people out there moving around, they're going to be less likely to feel comfortable just setting up because we'll be walking our dogs through there and bikes and such. So I think if we could utilize the space as intended and just demonstrate that's what it's there for, as a community, that really sends a message. Just don't let it be a place for people to come in. Seriously.
Is anybody noticing anything on River Creek? Because that's some.
I mean, the trail itself.
Yeah, you've got the creek down through there, and you see people coming in and out of that area. It's like, whoa, they don't look like they're walking.
Yeah, I walk my dogs through there, and I do have to say, for the last 3 years, have been totally fine doing that, but now I do make sure I have I've run into a few people that I was not comfortable back there with, but I had my dogs, they don't know that they are useless, but that's why so yes,
Okay, I think because Beaver Creek stretches such a long distance, I think it might depend also on the location. Are you talking near where the bridge is gonna be back in, or are you talking?
I've been back there and things are fine. I see coming down through Robbins Way, how it starts up there and comes down kind of right over there. That's where I've met some people just hanging out there in the middle down by that small bridge there, you know?
I've been a little bit curious because they've had Cochrane closed on the south side of the college. And I mean, I've watched people completely violate just, motorcycles, whatever, just go booking down in there. Keep looking over at me like, am I noticing? I'm not even sure what to do to call you in. You could be long since gone the other side. I haven't gone down there to see what it looks like. So, but I'm just kind of curious because there was homeless living down the creek a ways, and that's east side of the college. I don't know if they still are there or not, but yeah, just kind of.
Are you talking about the guy and the gal that were there?
Well,
There was a guy and a girl that were there. They were pretty drugged out. And one thing I noticed about the guy is he carried a small firearm in his right pocket.
oh,
And so I took notice. I wasn't that uncomfortable because he didn't look like he could stand, let alone hit anything. But yeah, I don't know if that's still there.
yeah, okay. Well, I just feel like with that road being closed, it creates such an issue of like, who knows what could be developing.
You did mention one thing, and I don't know if they're the same, and Nick, I don't know either. There's a bunch of younger children, maybe young adults, that I've seen start up by like Sunrise Park and come all the way down Sandy Avenue and then go back up on tiny like little motorcycles. And I'm all for kids having fun, but I'm very afraid that something's gonna happen because they're so small and they're not typically wearing helmets and they're going very quickly down that area. So I don't know if
That's not, this was actually, coming off of 257th. It's like what I'd call like a dirt bike, no license on it or anything like that.
small ones, yeah.
Yeah.
We've had numerous calls about that. and complaints, but every time we've gone up there, we've never found anybody.
Very fast.
So by the time the call gets dispatched to us and we get up there, there's probably a 5 to 10 minute delay by the time we get there. And then by that time, we never locate them.
Joy riot is done in the back of the garage.
Like, we got 5 minutes, let's go.
Okay, well, I guess just we can still. How about the public? Do you have any comments on common issues in green spaces you want to say? Okay, seeing none? Move on. Got you guys? Okay, now the last item, Young sent me something, it was talked about before, the red light cameras. And we didn't want to deal with it. That's totally okay. Now a suggestion came up about the speeding cameras. Just catching speed. So I didn't send anything information out. I just wanted to go to this group and feel if you guys want to do or talk about or find information, or you got enough on our plate and you don't want to talk about that. So I just thought I would ask the group how you felt about it. Paula.
One of our captains, our chiefs that has came and talked to our group, said something that really resonated with me. And I think that's the difference between a camera and having an officer, is that the goal is to create behavior change, and for you to adapt that. And for me, I'm never gonna have that kind of outcome from a camera. But if I was to talk to somebody, a deputy, and I was pulled over and I had that conversation, I would be much more likely to adapt my behavior based on that, rather than getting my picture in the mail.
Or worse yet, you get a ticket for somebody else who's driving.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah, I hate that one.
My children.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking about. Yeah. So I'd like them to have their behavior modified, not my non-behavior.
And my children's their behavior modification would be much more likely if they were talking to an officer than listening to their mother.
Yeah, that scared my daughter straight, so that was nice. Appreciated that.
I would agree, and I would also believe that the expense of speeding, those cameras, and then taking an officer off the road to read those, tickets and all that kind of stuff, takes away from that person having the influence. And, yeah, so for me, I kind of feel like we've got plenty enough other things to look into.
I was trying to think where we could have, if we had them, it's not all the time that they're speeding on one road. Troutdale Road at night sometimes is bad. And then those kids that'll urinating and stuff. By the bridge now and then. I'm trying to think of it. It's more that I noticed them going through the roadhouse.
Something that Sherry had said, I do like the personal touch.
Yeah. When you see those lights behind you.
Kelly, you have any thoughts on it?
I will say, I think that speeding cameras are actually, I would say the red light cameras are fantastic for certain areas. I've seen it like severely reduce crashes, and that might be something to consider, just like frontage road, getting on and off that freeway. I feel like there's a lot of crashes that happen just even trying to get on the freeway right there. So possibly for preventing something like that, but in terms of like just putting up speeding cameras everywhere, I think you guys are right. It would cause a lot more issue and cost than maybe worth it.
Okay, I think you guys have adequately answered my question. That subject is. All right, now I'm going to circle back to our focus. Does anybody have a particular location or issue wants to address besides potentially, I don't know, just for saying, watching more Buxton and stuff, not really my life, or just issues. I guess I'm not sure what can happen with the education if the police pull somebody over, but it's a confusing intersection, and it probably is never going to get fixed until it light or something.
This is Sherry. Maybe this is a question for Nick. Is there any like times when you guys just decide, hey, I'm going to sit on Troutdale Road off of, I don't know, trying to think of an area, off of 15th, let's say, and I'm just going to radar and see the next 10 minutes and see if I get anybody.
Yeah, we do it just randomly. If we get a lot of complaints in a certain location, we'll put out that, or the city will put out the, I don't even know the name of it, but that invisible little ghost speed box that captures vehicle speeds. Because a lot of times we'll get complaints, people saying that there's a lot of speed in a certain location, and then we'll put that out there for 10 days, and it'll capture the fastest vehicle, the slowest vehicle, and everything in between, and it'll give you an average. And a lot of the times when we get the data off of that, there's really not a speed issue in those areas. It's just people's perception of vehicles going faster. They just see it differently than what's actually occurring. Because we've had numerous complaints where people have said, oh, there's people speeding like crazy at a certain location, and I'll go up there for an hour in my car and I'm running my radar and I don't find anybody speeding. So, and I'll do that a couple times during the week, and then I don't catch anybody speeding. So I'm like, well, let's have this thing put out there and see what it captures. And then it'll capture all the data. And then we're like, well, there's really not a speed issue here.
Yeah, I can appreciate that.
I don't know what the name of it is. I can't remember, but it's a speed device that has it has like a little cord that goes across the road and you can't see it. And when cars go over it, it captures their speed.
One thought was, every now and then we'll put that police car out there, park it. That seems to be effective at first. And then as the usual commuters get used to nobody being in it, they start ignoring it. Can't help but wonder if every now and then we throw somebody in there.
Yeah, that's what we do.
That really shake them out.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Surprise.
we'll put that in a location for, a week, 10 days. And then once people start disregarding it, I'll go sit there in my car and I'll start to stop in a couple cars.
Yeah, because if they see the car in the same spot, they're going to assume it's empty.
We had it sitting up at I think it was 238 in Wood Village here about a couple weeks ago, and it had sat there for maybe 2 weeks in the same location, and somebody actually went up and hung a for sale sign on it as a joke.
That's amazing.
God. Oh my goodness.
I gotta say, for me, when it was there in the corner, kind of by the caboose, down in that neck, it didn't matter. Every time I went down that way, it was the same thing. I go, am I doing the right speed here? So every time it's effective for me. Yeah. I knew it was a ghost car.
I know. Same with me when it was there.
Okay, well, do you have any thought of anything that you put on your name? That's okay, that's an ongoing thing, be paying attention. I guess you guys would anyhow, you'd bring stuff to the meeting, just know that, so. Call to the sheriff's attention. Okay. All righties. Okay. Next month's agenda. I think we'll talk about law enforcement. Hopefully get some. Hopefully, I don't know, I still think hopefully I can have someone, maybe Nick will have some answers for us. I think we can't really, we cannot limit this book until we get more information. I still think we just are still not good with it. So if you, I know it's a lot to read, but if each of us, whenever you have time, maybe just try to look through the logs. That's covering all the things I think that happened. There's no filters on that. So just be noting like, oh yeah, I think we want to for sure we'd like to see some of those things. Maybe we can see a pattern to it. Kinds, maybe it's priorities. Or clearly if you say, we don't need to ever see this, we don't need to see this. Okay, well then, that would be good. So, and that, maybe we'll talk about that, or maybe we won't next time because I think we can answer more questions. Understanding all this data and what it is. So it's meaningful to each one of us.
Okay, this is Sherry. I was just trying to figure out if this had something to do, why is this in my packet?
What's it say?
Lead adjustment form?
Oh, I bet you probably got something
I
that
thought maybe we were talking about something that mattered.
unintended from the printer.
Oh, I bet you're right. No, I don't think I have
I
that.
don't have any.
Yeah,
It was on the last.
yeah, I bet
Last
somebody didn't pick up something from the printer.
Oh, yeah.
They're probably at home trying to do their reports and they're like, I know.
No, I printed it. I'm missing a couple pages.
Yeah, well, it's a few. There's a few adjustments needing to be made.
Okay, so anyhow, otherwise, okay, and then of course we'll talk about what our focus item is. I have a number of them. And I mean, I'll drop it off the list unless anybody wants to bring up raise versus proactive things. Just that can come up. And I guess that could even be a focus thing that it's we can do proactively, and might probably involve the sheriff, could involve the sheriff for green spaces. I'll drop that item otherwise. And so that's just our 3 items. I'll again try to see if I can get someone to come in and talk to us about these reports, maybe in addition to whatever. That sound okay? Anyone else have any other items that we should be discussing or working into our agenda?
Can I bring up just something as a food for thought? Sherry, because it always seems like it's such a struggle for us to get these reports and in our packets and stuff and get stuff in time. And I see that you're showing a date for next time and it's between 2 things or something, but I just wonder, should we ever consider moving our meeting to a different day in the month?
I think we'll have issues with the scheduling, what tends to run, there's stuff that tends to be. But because Sarah gave us the option, she's probably looked ahead and seen that we could have October. Is it something?
I was just thinking, there
But
just
I can
always
ask.
seems like issues, and I realize that could mess everybody's schedule up, which might not be good. It just was like, oh, we seem like trying to get the data and then be able to review it. I mean, especially when it's a lot of pages, it's way easier if I have it in paper and I can start circling things and stuff like that than just staring at a screen. So, okay, that's all.
I think that, I certainly could ask, but I think we want to get this down to a more manageable size, so then it isn't so many pages for us to process, even if it's a short turnaround. But It is true when we do the first couple days of the month, it is apart. It's a fast one.
Well, we can't get in the middle.
No, we can't get in the mail to us, that's right. Okay, so looking at your calendars, would you guys prefer October 2nd or October 9th?
Being that October 2nd is LOC, my preference would be the 9th.
How about you, Victoria?
This month, either month.
How about you, Twyla?
I know. I may be traveling on the 9th for work, so I would prefer the 2nd, but,
Well, if you're gonna be traveling, then not the 2nd.
How about you?
I have been summoned for jury duty
Oh, you have on the 2nd or the 9th?
for the 8th and the 9th. So it would just be provided I'm not on some weeks that,
Okay.
I don't know. So that would be my only thing. Otherwise, I don't care.
Okay, how about you, Kelly?
I'm open to either, whichever works best.
Sounds like the 2nd.
It actually sounds like we'd get better attendance this week. Alrighty. Okay, committee member comments. Let's see, I'll start with you online, Kelly, if that's okay with you.
No extra comments from me. This was great. Thank you.
Thanks.
I was just thinking about, if we should discuss about, police and fire, maybe having a fire district. And if it comes down, which it probably is gonna come down to us voting on it, if this committee wants to help, we could be very divided on it too. Because there'll be lots of information and people really need the information. There is a ton of information and how much more it's gonna cost and things like that. And since this is the safety committee, I was wondering if maybe that is one thing we should think about.
Is there anything else to report?
Why haven't I put that on there to get a
Um,
work group update from you guys?
Well, right now, Montgomery County Police, these contracts signed and done. And so is Gresham for a year. But we need to let Gresham know if we're going with the fire district. Now, Gresham may also go with the fire district, but and Gresham Fire Department wants us to go with the fire. So it's just gonna be a matter, it sounds like no matter what, we'll go with the fire district. And it'll just be with either Gresham or Clackamas.
I wonder if we shouldn't. Your,
Yeah, I think everybody's gonna, I mean, it's not there yet. I mean, there's still some things that have to be done. And they have a public relations group that's also going to help. And we can get ideas from them. And I mean, this isn't next month or the next month. I mean, we're talking maybe into spring or something. We don't even know when it will be on the ballot for sure. I've heard 2 different times.
and it sounds like there's like a consulting group who will be helping with that,
Yeah, the public
message.
event.
Yeah,
Gathering information.
yeah.
Yeah, we could have them to do a town hall.
I just was gonna say, I think. I heard that on Citizen Advisory last night,
Yeah.
that they're
brought up about getting the information out, people understanding what the heck is happening with this fire, because there was an article in the they did put stuff, tried to explain the stuff, but people have more questions.
Oh, yeah, because
And
the money,
it's too bad they didn't come, not that we have all the answers, but.
yeah, and we don't have all the answers yet, but as we get there, I'm just wondering if that's one of the things we should, as this group should be helping.
I would think for getting we can't, I don't believe, we can individually make stand, but I don't think as a group we can stand.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. It seems like that's getting political. We're supposed to just represent the citizens. Go ahead, Twyla.
Well, this is just a rules question. It just occurred to me that now that this group has 3 people, because Rich is also on that.
Yeah.
Do we have overrepresentation now, or are we still okay with 3 people?
They wanted to,
Still? Okay.
they wanted to keep it the same people.
Okay, because I just,
Oh, you're right, having a meeting outside of a meeting, right? You mean?
Well, they're all public meetings, so it's okay from a,
right, I just wasn't, because I thought we were
Requirements
supposed to have 2 members.
They changed
But
it
it's
all,
okay
they
to-
changed it all and
Okay,
but it would be nice to get this full group's opinion. And perhaps they need to collect more information about, to even present to the group.
yeah.
Let's hear from our city manager, Mike Watson, who's got his hand up. Go ahead, Mike.
I have to get to the unmute button, but we have had a couple meetings regarding that fire district situation, and it looks like, you know, most of you all are aware already that Gresham City Council voted in favor of pursuing the fire district, or at least looking into it. The city has a contract with Praxis right now. It hasn't been executed yet, but we plan to execute that in the next week or so. But there's also a task force and IGAs being developed right now. The task force will include all 4 city managers, 4 city mayors, and then 1 counselor from all 4 cities, along with the fire chief and a representative of the fire union. And then we're going to look into the structure and developing and the messaging for getting a fire district for all 4 cities joining together. And so part of the pushback that we saw on some of our preliminary polling numbers with going to Fire District 1, which is Clackamas, is that there was pushback from the union, from Gresham Fire Union. And so we're trying to find a solution that works for all 4 cities. I think Troutdale might be a little ahead of the other 3 cities timeline wise on which way to go, but I think all 4 cities acknowledge that a fire district model is necessary in order for continued fire service at the response levels and times that we're shooting for, which are less than 20 minutes, hopefully, because that's what it is, I think, now. So I think everyone's looking for more of that like 5 to 10 minute response time, not the 15 to 20 minute response time. So that's what we're aiming for anyway. So.
Okay, thank you. Okay, well, more to talk about that, I think, in the future. It's not very much. All right, and did you have any other comments, Victoria?
no. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Sorry I was running late. They have an alarm system and it went offline, switched to battery backup and switched to alternative internet, which I've never seen happen before. And I was distracted by that. It's like, whoa, what's going on? And my wife says, you gotta go. And so I apologize for running late. Still a geek at heart, so I kind of wondered what happened there.
Yeah. 10 push-ups.
Yeah.
So welcome. Now we didn't get you, you weren't here at the beginning for us to welcome you as a new member, but welcome, Rich. You've been around the city for a while doing that. Welcome.
I appreciate it, thank you.
I'm gonna tell you, I do have a couple of questions. What about we try to, once again, punch a news article into the Champion about here, and talk to us? I don't know. And then the other thing is, I was just kind of curious, why does Corbett Fire respond to that area in 1,000 acres, right? That's what we're talking about? It's not inside the city. I recognize that, but it seems like that's Corbett there. I mean, that's, well, I think it's because it's not the east side of the river unless you're incorporated in the city of Troutdale, your fire district is. So the response has to be all the way from the Corbett. Wow, okay, just curious.
There's a newspaper article about it. I'll have to find it.
Yeah, I don't think they really have to, from what I got out of it. Corbett's just,
It's more of a volunteer.
and they're wonderful.
They're wonderful.
Corbett Fire, they'll respond all the way out to Bonneville Dam sometimes, and that's not in Corbett, but they go throughout the entire gorge.
There's good people.
And they are the fastest responders I've ever seen for being a volunteer department. When we get calls out in the gorge, most of the time they beat us there. And I don't know how they do it, but there are guys that are ready to go and they are there very fast.
That's it. Carla.
Yeah, well, good meeting, thank you. And welcome, Rich, happy to have you. It'll be great to have your perspective and hear your ideas on this committee. And it just reminds me, so my son was going to college and it was out in the middle of nowhere and there was a snowstorm and there was an accident up the road and the fire was responding, the fire truck there, and it just made me so grateful to be where I am here and know that we have modern fire trucks, because as a nurse, when I saw this, the fire truck was as old as the ones you see in parades, the old one responding, and I just thought, oh, say a prayer for those people that they don't need much help. And it just made me very grateful for what we have here with our wonderful resources and people who respond, so.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you all for joining. Welcome, Rich, glad you're here. Thank you all, thank you, City Manager Mike Weston for joining us tonight. That's wonderful. And Nick, we really appreciate that you're here too. Thanks, Kelly, for joining online. So,
Thanks, Frank and Paul.
oh, and I just hate this. It doesn't show it on my screen tonight. I think it's a new thing or something on Zoom. I usually can see it. So, yes, thank you to Paul and Frank for joining us too. So with that, I'll entertain a motion.
I move.
Okay,
And this is Sherry, a second.
all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, thank you all. See you next month.
Thank you.